Now, here's a good one to talk about. Fat magic and how it works. Now, believe it or not, I've been skinny in the past, and I've also been mahosive. And when I was skinny, I used to get, people would start on me, they'd give me shit, and I couldn't say or do much because I'd get my arse handed to me. And then when I bloomed, yeah, people were less likely to want to fuck with me. Because there's an unwritten rule with chaps, and it's that the bigger guy will knock the other guy out. Simple as. Now, look at boxing. You have weight divisions, and there's a reason for this. And there'll be £7 difference between the weight divisions. That's how little, a change in weight it can have a drastic effect. Just being £7 bigger than the other guy. So imagine if you're 7 fucking stone bigger than the other guy. You could possibly kill him. And you're in your peak physical condition when you're fat, as a man. And now the ladies, there's a bit of a quandary for the ladies because on the one hand they don't want to be seen with a guy who's massive, but at the same time, subconsciously, they feel rather protected by a bigger guy. And he also knows where the food's at. That subconsciously, that's what they're thinking, the ladies. If the shit hits the fan, he'll get fed, that guy. And whatever happens, he's going to eat. And if I'm around him, if I'm with him, there's a good chance I'm going to do some eating too. So, and he'll protect me, like I said. He will knock other people out. He's a deterrent to others, to other guys who might want to try their luck or fuck around. They see the guy, they see his size, and they have to think twice. And like I said, it's always been this way. And back in the day, it used to be quite the thing to be fat, because it showed that you were wealthy, that you ate well. And then things all changed, didn't they? And this change, it occurred in the last century. And again, reasons for this. You get all these skinny pop stars, and then it becomes about being photogenic. So you had Hollywood telling people that it was, better to be skinny and to have no weight to you at all. And they're all swallowing tapeworms and, starving themselves. This kind of business. Look at Elvis Presley. He made himself fucking sick. He made himself ill by trying to keep his weight down for all those years. And then when he blew up like a poisoned dog, he looked unwell. He was a big guy, wasn't he, at the end? He looked unwell, and it's because the tablets had stopped having an effect on him. And all his fucking organs had blown up, and he was just mahosive. And it didn't look good. He was out of shape. You can be fat and fit. Now, there's levels of fat. There's, can't get up out of a chair, can't move because you're fat. That's a bad way. That's sad, that, when someone can't get up because they're too big. And it's unhealthy. It's not good, that. But yeah, you'll find big fatties who can do cartwheels and, have a good fucking run up a hill and all sorts of business. And they're quite light on their feet. Like I said, the peak physical condition is to be larger for a guy. And again, people don't fuck with you. Now, they might do if they think they can get away with it. They might call you names and then, be like, can't you take a joke? But it all stems from jealousy. Why do you get these skinny guys who all want to bulk up? And, yeah, they're working out and they add muscle. But you can't grow muscles on your chin. So When you're fat, and I'm talking, you know, big, when you're a big boy, you you get the broad shoulders, you get the big back, the chunky thighs. You're solid. You're like a tank, and no one's shifting you. No one's bothering you. No one's going to give you any kind of abuse because you'd fuck them up. They know this. So unless they're in the work environment or some kind of place where they can, you know, give you shit, you know, they can drive past in a car, a bunch of skinny lads, and shout out the window, shout abuse. But they'd never get out and try on. They'd never do it. Why? Because they'd get fucking slaughtered, and easily so, simply so. Now, the ladies, how does it work for them? Well, take a lady like the beautiful Karen Carpenter. She was a little darling, and then someone called her chubby, and she didn't like that. And then the next thing you know, it's all downhill from there, isn't it? Eating disorders. Was it bulimia she had? Or anorexia? One or the other. I think it was bulimia with her. Where they run off to a room and just gorge themselves on food until they make themselves sick. And then they throw it all up. And their teeth rot and their hair is like straw. And it's not good for a lady to be skinny. It's again, just like for the men, it's not good. It's a bad way. And believe it or not, guys like a chunky lady. They want something to grab hold of. They want this. They don't want a toothpick. Nobody does. But a toothpick might look good on your arm. Or it might impress the lads or something. But no, men in general, we like a bit of meat on them. You know, and again, I think the ladies with the men, they like a bit of meat. But now everybody's on that fat jab, aren't they? I know a few ladies, know a few men that are on that fat jab. And I feel sorry for their partners because of the side effects. Now, the side effects of the fat jab are disgusting. And never mind being on it and being sick, it makes you feel sick hearing about it. The eggy burps, because their food rots in their fucking stomach. The, what do they call it, Ozempic pussy, where they lose drastic amounts of weight quickly, and then it's just a bag of loose skin. And, you know, it has the effect downstairs too. The smells that they give off. The funky breath. Yeah. They lose their hair. Yes. They look unwell. They don't look sexy. Like I said, I know a few ladies on the fat jab, and none of them look good. They look terrible. And then you hear about the side effects, and you're like, dearie gosh. You know, who would want to kiss you, knowing that your breath, you know, stinks of eggs, and you're smelly downstairs now, and you're just a bag of loose skin. And I bet all these ladies that are in relationships, I bet their chaps are really saddened by this, but they can't talk them out of it. They can't say stop. Now, I know someone who's on the jab who recently nearly dropped dead. And it's because of that. Because she kept going when she didn't need to, and she was buying it, you know. It wasn't being prescribed for her. Now, if somebody's fucking, you know, we're talking Rick Waller fat, you know, where it's, you know, it's bad. It's that they're in a bad way. They're in bad shape. Then yes, when it's prescribed, it can do them some good. You know, they won't have such a big appetite, and then they can lose the weight, and they can get about a bit easier. But when it's not prescribed, and it's just for vanity reasons, and it's because somebody just wants to look good on their, you know, in their pictures, or to prove something, maybe to themselves, and they want to feel good, and then they go on the jab. It's sick. It's a really shameful way to go. Because if you cared that much about losing the chubs, go to the gym, cut the shitty food out, do better. But no, they want the quick and easy fix. So then and they've all got this dead-eyed stare because they're not happy. You'll hear about people who say, he's jolly, and, meaning he's fat and, happy. And when they've got this, like, they're not eating, then of course they're not happy, are they? They're miserable. And all they need, these fuckers, is a good bacon sandwich, a bag of chips, a Galaxy bar. They need something something sweet. But instead, they're just so hell bent on being skinny. And I used to be like this when I was at my biggest, and I'd be like, oh dear, I hate this. I'd do anything to lose weight. And my dad, who was on the heavier side, I saw him waste away in his later years. And that was me. It fixed me. I was like, no. I'm a powerhouse. I can shift. I can move. I'm tough. I'm strong. I'm built like a brick shithouse. And, people don't fuck with me. And I'm strong. And you know it. Fit as a butcher's dog. And happy too. Happy to be that way. Happy to be jolly and stuffing my face full of chocolates. Now, not everybody likes fatties, let's face it. I do. I've always preferred the larger lady. The big heaving breasts, the big fat ass. I like it. And, the smiley face, the smiley disposition, the big chubby cheeks, and, the wobbly nature of them, and they're just good for a laugh, and, they can handle themselves, and they're fun to be around. Whereas, stick insects, no, some people can't put weight on, and I feel sorry for them. I knew a guy when I was younger, he used to have to wear about 20 layers of clothes, to try to bulk up, to make it look like he had a bit of weight, because there was nothing to him. And, this is going back in the day when it was, that heroin chic look. It was good to look like you were a junkie. And that, you were smacking up and not eating and all of that kind of business. And I'd say, don't worry about it. You look good. And he'd say, no, I just don't feel right. I want to bulk up. I want to feel strong. I want to feel like I can handle myself. So I know that there are some people that find it hard to put weight on. And for those kinds of people, I've got some advice. What you do is you go to McDonald's and you buy yourself 2 large Big Mac meals. With one meal you get a regular Coke. With the other you get a chocolate milkshake. Now treat yourself. Get yourself a McFlurry's, an apple pie. You can do this quite simply. When you wake up in the morning, egg, bacon, sausage, mushrooms. You can do it. Fried bread. It's all good. It will do you some good. There's nothing wrong with fat in your diet. There's nothing wrong with being a chunky monkey. But again, because it's seen as being unseemly and disgusting, and you'll get people who look at you like, oh my dearie me, like it's catching, like they could catch you, just being around you. They see you being fat, and it's like you've got the AIDS, and they're like, oh, I'm staying away. How disgusting is that to look at and to see? And I hope I don't get like that. So vanity, we're a lot of guys who... There's nothing wrong with being fit. There's nothing wrong with being, skinny or just normal. Normal's probably best, isn't it? But yeah, with the way the world is going, you want to be packing on the pounds about now. You do. I have no guilt whatsoever about enjoying my life. I'll eat what I want, drink what I want. Call me a gluttonous pig. I don't mind. I really don't care. I'm too old to give a shit. And the vanity's gone out the window. I really don't care at all. I'm happy with the way I am, with the way I look. And I know that there's enough ladies who find me sexy to know that it works for me. It didn't work for me when I was skinny. It didn't. I looked emaciated. I looked ill. And I felt ill too. And I was. Nothing was working for me because I had no weight behind me. And I couldn't dominate. I couldn't stand up for myself. So I was stuck in the shit. But even when I was skinny, I had an appetite. I could put the food away. And I remember this guy saw me once and he said, when you slow down, you're going to fucking fill out, you are. Look at the way you eat. And he couldn't believe it, what I was putting away. He was watching me on my break at work. I was eating a full English breakfast. Like I said, we're talking the sausages, aren't we? We're talking the bacon, the mushrooms, the eggs, the beans, the hash browns, the fried bread, the toast. Yeah, I was loving it. And he was jealous because he was so fixated on what he saw in the mirror and how people reacted to him. And he didn't want to be a big fatty like me. I wasn't at the time, I was skinny, like I said, but he could see where it was going. And when I was younger, like I said, I was extremely skinny. And then, yeah, I did slow down and I filled out. But I was happy. The happiest I've ever been was being fat. And the fatter I am, the healthier and the happier I am. It's as simple as that. So don't let everybody put you down if you put the chubs on. Nothing wrong with it. They can chant, you fat bastard, who ate all the pies, all this kind of business. You say I did. Any more for any more, I'll have them. I'll risk it for a biscuit. I love me grub. It's as simple as that. Now, I've noticed with the ladies that are on the fat jab, you could already tell that they were going to do it because the fake kind, the fake eyelashes, the fake tan, the dyed hair, the lip fillers, the Botox, all of this kind of business. So, the turkey teeth. So you knew that they were destined to get on that fat jab. And when they come off the fat jab, because you can't stay on it forever, it costs a fortune, by the way. And when they come off it, they pile all the weight back on. So there was no point in the first place, other than that you've done yourself some severe damage. You've put your body through the ringer. You've made it hard for yourself when it didn't have to be. And if you'd have just been happy with yourself and not cared so much about what others had to say, what others think of you. Again, these are the problems. These are the things that cause problems. Because everybody's thinking about how they're perceived by others. How other people see them. And when you can get to a point in your life where you genuinely don't give a fuck, you will find true happiness. And you are who you are. You are what you're meant to be. You are. What you see is what you get. You want it like that. Look at me. Old, wrinkled up. Tummy, big tummy. I don't mind. Like I said, what you see is what you get. There's nothing fake about it. I'm not dyeing my hair. I'm not taking weight loss jabs. I've not got turkey teeth. I've not got lip fillers. fake eyelashes. There's no fake tan to be seen around me. So what you see is what you get, the genuine article. But the faker that someone is, the more makeup they put on, the dyeing of their hair. Now, ladies, I've known a few skinny ladies in my time, and like I said about the hair loss and stuff, it's not good. The hair is weak as straw. It's shit. It's the brittle. It's not nice. You can't grab a hold of it, you know, during lovemaking when you're getting a bit passionate and stuff. There's none of that. It'll fall out. You'd pull it out in big clumps. It's a sad way. And a lot of ladies who worry about their weight need to stop now. Need to embrace, you know, their curves. It's okay. Us guys like to see it. We like a bit of paunch. We like I said, the big boned lady. You know, with the curves, with the childbearing hips. It beams of healthiness and happiness. And, you know, when they've got that wobble in their walk, I mean, come on. It's lovely to see. But when someone's skinny, there's just nothing to it. There's nothing. I don't find it attractive. I know some men do. But what kind of men are these that like these skinny ladies who've got nothing on them? Again, it's vain, it's vanity. It's men who want to look good in pictures. They want you to look good on their arm. So you better lose some weight, because it reflects on me if you're a big fat fatty. That's the way they see it. I've known plenty of men who are like that, but again, they're not men, they're bitches. You know, gay, possibly gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but, you know, the lady will just be a beard anyway. And the guy doesn't care. If the guy cared, he'd be buying her a big box of donuts. He'd be buying her a big box of chocolates. He'd be encouraging her to eat. They would have many a good laugh, just, you know, watching the telly and eating. Instead of this, oh, we better watch what we're eating. Oh, you had enough of them yet? I think you need to put them down. I think you need to do this. I think you need to do that. These are sad sacks that we're talking about, who do that kind of thing and project onto other people. You know, you could stand to lose 10 pounds, that kind of shit. You could do with losing some weight. You know, it's unhealthy. And it's like, fuck off. You fucking misery. Like I said, these skinny bitches and bastards, they're fucking miserable. And they might look good in pictures, but who gives a fuck? The guys would get fucking knocked out in the real world. And the ladies, their breath hunks and their hair's falling out and their pussies stink and they're all fucking got baggy tits. And it ain't good. So embrace the fat. That's how fat magic works.